Hey guys, Mike Taylor, broker, owner, Red Door Property Management. Today we are bringing you the Indianapolis rental market report for August 2023. So it is August, it is the end of the summer when we're going to see the highest rent rates throughout the year. So if you've been watching this, you know that Indianapolis has had some wild days on the market. Thankfully, those are trending downwards, both last month and this month. But let's see what happened with the average days on the market in addition to the average rent, and let's take a look at the sales numbers as well. Okay guys, let's take a look at the numbers for Indianapolis market report for August of 2022. As I mentioned in the intro, this is kind of the peak of the year in terms of leasing activity. Typically this is when we see the most activity and when we see the highest prices on a historical basis. So let's see if that rang true this year or not. So number of active homes on the market, 1902. That is down slightly from last month. So that's actually a good sign that, you know, in the busiest month of the year, supply went down slightly. So that's a positive trend here as well. The number that we've been looking at and want to continue to monitor is this average days on the market here in Indianapolis. So if you've been watching this or want to go back and watch the previous months, this has kind of been out of control over the last couple months. If I recall correctly, it was over 120 days 2 months ago, which is just wild. So we are seeing an improvement from that. Last month I think it was somewhere around 84, and this month we're at 75. So it's heading in the right direction, but still 75 is extremely long time on the market. So that is obviously over 2 months on the market. That is a killer if you are if you have a turnover or a new home on the market. Nobody wants to have 2 months of vacancy. So please be aware of this. If again, if you have a home that's coming up for renewal, if you have a home that's going to hit the market, please be aware of this number and make sure that you price it accordingly, because that is the last thing that we want is to have our investors have 2+ months of vacancy. That is not our goal at all, but this is where the market is. So let's react accordingly and price it accordingly. Let's get aggressive so that we don't want to have 2+ months of vacancy. So as you can see here, that's up 127% from last year, down 9% from last month. So heading in the right direction, but still concerning. Average rent $1,400. That is totally flat from last month. So a little bit of not going along with the typical trend. So up 0% and actually down from last year. So you can see this trend line here is just overall just lower than last year, and for the most part relatively flat. We had a little bit of a dip there in April, but it's been right at that 1,400 mark for pretty much the entire year. So again, we get a little sneak peek here into September. Looks like we may have a bit of an uptick in September. It's nothing super substantial. Looks like maybe 30 or 40 bucks. We'll have to see as those numbers come in a few weeks, but that would kind of look the trend, because typically this is more of a typical trend where it peaks in August and then falls off through the rest of the year. This was a bit drastic in the decline from August to the end of the year. So we'll see what happens with this price trend. For the most part, we're flat month over month and pretty much for the whole year. And then let's take a look at the sales data. Again, we look at this from an investor's point of view. So we take out any home over $500,000. So these numbers apply to all homes sold in Indianapolis under $500,000. When we take a look at those in the month of August, there was 1,038 homes that sold with an average sales price of $236,420. So that remains super affordable. That's the great news. Some silver lining here is that there's still a good amount of homes and a really attractive price point, both here locally and I mean nationwide. Gosh, you compare that to other areas of the nation, it's people can't even touch a home for $200,000. So still a bright spot here in terms of the average sales price. And then how does that compare year over year, month over month? So down just slightly over last year, and then down 3% from last month. That too is bucking the trend a little bit for the most part. What we have seen is inventory is tight, and so that is prices aren't going crazy, but they are kind of slowly, continually going up in other areas. So that's what we're looking at for the Indianapolis market report for August of 2023. We'll take a look next month. See you next month.